Hi, everybody, and welcome to another day of the 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got my awesome special guest. He was here earlier this year or I guess earlier this month, uh, with, I guess you did Curse of the Wolf with me and Ramaku. Please welcome Stro. How you doing, Stro?
Hey, doing great. You're awesome. I'm great to be here. I had so much fun last time with you with the Curse
Uh,
of the Wolf. That was awesome.
Curse of the
It's
Wolf was fun,
yeah,
and
tis the season's Halloween.
yeah.
Halloween's here. That's
We did that
wonderful.
earlier this year, which wasn't Halloween, and we're going to be doing more of that kind of stuff later. But
That's so cool.
I'll let everybody know that there is a lag, some kind of lag or issue with the stuff. So he can hear me completely fine, but for some reason, Stroh's video doesn't, at least not on my end, is not looking like it's there, but it's not, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I got my time frames mixed up. I'm going through portals, evidently.
Apparently, you're going through portals. Jesus Christ.
I'm doing the
Um,
whole Doctor Who thing, right?
yeah,
With
yeah.
the
I don't
TARDIS.
know. Did you go through a phone booth or something?
Yeah, my TARDIS. Yeah, it's taking me all over the place.
All right. All right. So we're gonna be talking about the I want to say it was 2015 is what I read. 2015 film Insectula.
Ooh,
Yeah.
what a
Uh,
film!
wasn't that a crazy movie?
You know what? In the beginning, it looked like arachnophobia meets high anxiety with Mel Brooks.
That's a good example. Um, it also harkened back to like the 1950s style horror films, and whatnot, like the
Yeah,
big bug films and stuff. But like it even did, like, the guy who made it was obviously a big fan of Ed Wood and stuff, and he did like Criswell in the beginning. There's like a narrator like Criswell
yeah.
who's like telling him about the future and all this other stuff. And then we go into the movie and that guy narrates it. And then there's a guy named Lobo who's
Mhm.
obviously from like the Ed Wood movies. There's a character named Lobo. So it
Yes,
was
Lobo.
just really cool to see those like connections in this movie when I don't know if I was really expecting it or not, you know.
Nah,
Um
that, me neither.
so how, like, okay, so if you could tell us the story of like what happened in the movie.
Oh well, I mean, it was a nice little backstory in the beginning about where the whole Insectula came from. It was like a planet of monsters, basically. And then it takes us to this funeral. Well, this not funeral, but this graveyard, right? This
Hmm.
this this couple is like going at it, and all the while you has this guy looks like he's going having an anxiety attack with looks like bats flying around him, and just just freaking out going forward. And it just then there's this I'm gonna say doctor or scientist that's trying to enhance the 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 monster in Secula, right?
Hmm.
And then you have it takes us to these two girls, right,
Trying
hanging
to think.
out,
Yeah.
right, and something happens to one of the girls, and then the other girl gets a hold of the doctor,
Oh, that's
and
later. That's later,
yeah,
right? That likes toward the
right,
end. In the beginning of the movie, it's like more about there's the EPA guy, the guy with the
right, yeah,
mustache, and
yes.
then and that's and his girlfriend or his wife, whatever she was. I don't know if she
Oh
was.
yes, oh gosh, I forgot about the
Yeah,
head.
there's a whole
The,
there's
the
a
kid,
whole thing in
the,
the beginning.
I'm all over the place. See, the kid. Remember the kids that discovered the head when they were fishing?
Yeah, that was the head of the girl from,
Yeah, yeah.
and she she
Uh,
just goes swimming, and when she goes swimming, this I guess sea insect creature thing, eats her
Mhm.
and stuff. And then it kind of makes the guy paranoid, like they'll go in the water, something's out there or whatever.
Mhm.
And then he tells like I don't know if it's his assistant or somebody else that was there, Yasmin. He tells her not to go out there to the water, and then she
Yeah.
does. For some reason, she's like, "Oh, like I'm just not gonna listen to anybody tell me not to do something," And she goes on a floaty tube and gets sucked out by the I don't know, the hole in the tube or whatever.
Oh
There's just a
yeah.
lot of crazy shit in this
It,
movie.
and right from the start too, right from the get go, it's like all
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean, well, as you said, like they show like the crazy creatures and the monsters on the planet and everything, and then I guess that the monsters from the planet come here. So we have a bunch of different monsters. It's not just like one monster, which is I thought when I was watching, I was like, Stro's gonna love this because this is a very kaiju and
Oh yeah.
Godzilla like
The big
it,
the beginning reminded me of Monster Zero with Godzilla, like King Ghidorah and all the monsters hanging out in the island, and
that was probably their point to it, and everything.
right.
So I'm watching this movie and I looked up the director and he's never directed anything else. Like this is the only one he's done. His name is Michael Peterson,
Mhm.
and he was in Minnesota. I want to say he's done other stuff, like he's done visual effects and an editor and camera. Well, he's a camera operator on that movie. But he's done like visual effects for America's Most Wanted, the newer
Mhm.
one, the new one,
Right.
The Devil's Hour, and the Wood Witch, which he did digital effects. So I'm guessing that's how he got sort of started, or how he at least figured out what he'd rather do. Because from what I've understood, this is the only thing he's done, and this is the only thing, as far as we know now, that he's planning to do. However, I would say he should do another movie, like
Right.
he's that talented,
Yeah.
There's not that many people who could pull off a monster movie of this like magnitude, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Uh,
definitely a different direction per se.
yeah, and something like I'm very happy I chose this for you, because there was another one we just watched on the last one, which was Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, which I could have
Oh,
chose
okay.
for you, and you would have
Right.
known every single person on there, like their franchise,
Yeah.
Shane Douglas and Rowdy Piper, and I mean, all that stuff. But I chose this one. And I found the perfect one because like when I was picking it, I was like, oh, this is like B movie kind of like 50s B movie stuff. And you love that stuff because you do a show called the Stro Show or Stro Zone,
Right.
right? Where
Yeah.
you kind of host those movies and stuff or whatever, public
Yeah.
domain movies and whatnot, I think, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm all about the monster verse.
Yeah. And so it's really nice to see that. And I was like, well, Paul, Stroh would love this,
Oh
Paul
yeah.
would love this movie too,
Oh
and
yeah. I bet he would. Yeah.
I gotta tell him more about it. But he would be like, why didn't you save this for Indie Film Cafe? And I'm like,
Matter,
as
matter
you
of
got
fact, the pilot that was flying the plane, he kind of reminded me of Paul.
really,
I had to do a double take. Like, that's not Paul, is it? That was flying the plane. Remember?
yeah, I would have said that. That's funny.
I'm like, oh my god, that was Paul at first. Like, oh my goodness, that was so
Nope.
wild.
Nope, nobody. Well, the only people I knew from this movie were Sarah French,
Yeah,
who I'm
Sarah.
sure you know her, of
Right.
her, or I don't know if you've met her or not. But there's also Nicole Jones, who's Nicole Crew, I think, or Crow. Not sure how
Right.
you pronounce her last name. Sorry, Nicole. But she was the girl who was like drinking, like I don't know if she was drinking alcohol or whatever she was drinking, and then
Yeah.
she went out on her balcony and then got her head chopped off. By the way, there are spoilers in this movie or in this review. There's just going to be because we can't do this without it. So just get ready. But yeah, like she gets her head chopped off and stuff.
Yeah,
That was awesome because I was not expecting that. And so when it happened, I was like, oh
that was
shit.
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. And yeah, and that all the whole movie just seemed like everybody was having a good time making it.
Oh
You know?
yeah,
I mean, all played like different parts. Each part was sort of silly at some point. Like you've got the military guys. There you had a character named Sergeant Slaughter. I don't remember anybody actually calling them that, but that was in the credits.
yeah,
Do you
yeah. I thought
remember
it
a
was pretty.
Sergeant Slaughter in this movie?
Uh, it was weird because uh, I I mean, I know they're like the wrestling Sergeant Slaughter, right?
Right. They use
But
that name though. Like it was, I
yeah,
guess, like there was a sergeant in the military. It's probably one of the military guys that were
right.
shooting at it at the end and everything.
Yeah, yeah, it was him. Yeah,
But we never got a name, so it wasn't
no,
actual Sergeant Slaughter, I don't think, as
oh
himself.
right.
Though that would be cool, man,
Was,
right? Having Sergeant Slaughter actually
was
play
he
a
was he the one that said shit when the tank appeared and shot the thing?
maybe.
I was dying.
That's funny. It might
When
have been.
when the monster moved out of the way and the tank shot the other tank. Oh shit!
That was not you
Oh
know,
man!
they were both planning to shoot them at the same time, I guess. And the thing was
Right.
like, hey, I'm getting out of here. That was
Oh
cool.
man!
We're all
Oh
over the place, everybody. So if you've seen this movie, you probably know every single thing that we're talking about. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it on Tubi. It's free. My biggest gripe for the movie was that like it was an hour and like 40 something minutes.
mhm.
And I just think I feel like that's just too long. And I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be like a you know, old person who's like, oh my God, everything's, whatever. But like when you do a B movie of this kind of nature, you gotta stick to what made those great. And what made those great were they were so short. You
Mhm.
could watch two movies back to back and almost feel like one movie.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so the double features that they used to have at the drive-ins and stuff.
Mhm.
They still do. They still have them at the drive, but it's not. They don't show these type of movies. They show real movies at the drive-ins now and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But or maybe they always did. I don't know because I never really went to drive-ins. I just went to one when I was in LA. I
Right.
had a fun time, but it was like Hollywood movies that we were watching. I would rather watch this kind of thing at the drive-in though.
Oh yeah. God, that'd be so much fun.
Um, so yeah, so you got the main guy, and I'm trying to remember his name. The guy with the mustache.
Yes.
He was his name was Agent Del Del Biondo.
Wow.
Yeah,
What
they
a
always
name.
called him Del
Dill.
for short. But yeah, so they had Dell in there, and he was always complaining about well, I mean, obviously his girlfriend, wife, fiance, whatever she was, died from
Mhm.
this thing, and then her head's floating down the thing, and the kids
Yeah.
find it and everything, and then scream and run. I thought
Right.
they were gonna have fun with it, like you start kicking it around like a soccer ball or something.
That'd have been great.
I
Oh man.
know. I would have been. I was so surprised that they ran. I was like, really? I
Oh
thought kids would
man.
have fun with that. Like, oh, it's a head. Let's play soccer with it.
That'd
Kind of
been
missed
awesome.
jokes there.
Oh God.
And
Yeah, that'd
then
been tremendous.
yeah, and then yeah. So his girlfriend was killed. So he really was wanting to figure out how to stop this thing. Meanwhile, the other guy that works with him, Dr. Kempler, had he had like the little basement that had
Yes.
the creature in it. and
Right.
everything. So he had like another one of them, like a smaller version and
Hmm.
stuff. And so that was crazy. Um, and, and that's another thing. It had a lot of characters, so a lot of people
Hmm.
like. But I mean that kept the movie story going along. But there was the Dr. Kempler, then there was the other doctor. Uh,
Hmm.
but there was like the German guy. Remember?
Yes.
I forgot his name. That wasn't Kempler, was it? I think there was another guy.
Hmm.
Um, but he was like, yeah, I don't think maybe that was him. But he was like, was he the one? Was that the one that the girls ran? The one girl ran. Sarah French's character ran because her sister got eaten by a or taken away by the thing, and so
Yes.
she went to the guy's house.
Yeah. Remember, he took her nipple ring and yanked it off.
Yeah,
Ouch.
he was like, I don't want you to see this. And then he started like licking his lips and grabbed the ring and
Ooh, God.
but what was worse was like I expected like more, and what was
Right.
like even grosser and like it felt like it was what would really happen if you ripped off the nipple ring and stuff. So like
Yeah.
the blood started kind of oozing, like kind of a little bit oozing out, but it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I was expecting to like pour out or
Oh
something
yeah.
and
Right.
whatever. And really, it was just, I think it made it worse that it was like, it felt real and ugh, kind of
Ugh.
creepy. Um,
Right.
and then I guess it pissed off the thing and it came after them.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and then killed, well, no, so they both ran and the two knocked her down,
Yeah.
like knocked her back. That was the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. I was like, damn, man.
Oh, it's messed up.
I don't know. That was pretty funny though.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and it's like, because at least it made me chuckle. I'm trying to think of what crazy other shit happened this movie. This is a lot of craziness. So there's the General Ripper. That was
Right.
his name. And he was like the guy that I guess mainly just stood at his office. He was there. He got like the call from the president. And
Hmm.
the weirdest thing is he told the guy to do something, but then he told him, give me something to drink, make me something to drink. That guy just hung out there. And I'm like, didn't he just give you an order? Like something to go do?
Yeah.
You're just like chilling with them? Like, what is going on here?
Right.
Um, And to go back to Lobo, that character Lobo, apparently he was shirtless when they first called the guy. Doctor called him up. It's like, I got a job for you to do. Come on out to the secret lair, and
Yeah.
and so he comes out there, but he starts acting kind of like, right? I'm Lobo, like the Lobo.
Lobo. Lobo. Yeah.
And then I guess the other girl snuck in. So this is all over the place. So this is
Oh
not
God. Yes.
we've already established this is everywhere. But the girl who what's her name or character name? Brittany Sachs or something? Yeah, Brittany Sachs. And she was
Hmm.
like she came to the secret lair and started like poking around and found the doctor's experiment and whatnot. And then he knocked her out and put like just had her basically had all their clothes off, except for
Hmm.
underwear. And so I was like, really? I mean, like, what is wrong with this guy? He's ripping
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
nipple rings and he's
Oh yeah.
keeping like I think that's the same guy. I want to say that's the same guy that ripped off the nipple ring. Um, we're so then and yeah, so there's a lot that happens in this movie, honestly.
Oh yeah. Oh
I feel
yeah.
like it wouldn't be a bad movie to watch again.
Hmm.
And there's not many movies, independent movies that can make me want to watch them more than once
Right.
because most of the time they're good for like maybe that one time and you're done. But
Hmm.
this one was like, all right, I'll watch it again, you know.
Right.
See all the things I might have missed.
See, even though it was a long movie, I mean, the fact that they had so much going on, it kept it. Ironically, it just kept the interest going because you didn't know what was going to happen next. I mean, things were happening like right and left.
Right. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, yeah. It was cool. Like I said, it was a different approach to that type of horror genre.
Well, and the thing with that is like it got to a point where you'd watch these things happen, right? You'd watch the movie unfold and
Hmm.
you're sort of like if you literally miss something, like you're looking at your phone or you were you know whatever talking to somebody, you just don't pay attention, you're gonna miss something because there's
Right.
always something that like generally happens in this movie, and I think that's great. Like it doesn't really slow down.
Hmm.
Like I said, it is long, so I mean there are things they could probably cut.
Right.
I can't think of anything right now on the top of my head that I'd want them to cut, but
Yeah.
like I'm just saying, like I bet they could have cut it down 20 minutes at least, get a nice hour and 20 minutes. Because I was like thinking it was like an hour and 10 minutes. I was like, oh Jesus, they still have a half hour left to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what this is where it should be wrapping up. This is where it should be done.
Right.
So I was just like, and I swear to God, this movie had my like, you ever seen the movie The Giant Claw?
Yes.
Yes, this had like giant claw stuff except with insects,
Right.
instead. Um, let's talk about the plane scene real
Oh, the
quick.
plane. Yeah.
Yes, so you're saying the pilot reminded you of Paul. That's funny. And there's
Yeah.
the co-pilot that was there, and he was like on
Hmm.
the phone with the actually it was the pilot that was on the phone with the controls,
Hmm.
control center. And he's trying to say there's a big bug like out in there. And they're like, are you okay? You've been drinking? Like, what's going on here? And so they don't believe him. And then all of a sudden the big bug disappears. So like, where'd it
Yeah.
go? And what does it do? It does the Twilight Zone thing.
Oh
I
man. Yeah.
so wanted that guy, the drunk guy or whatever, the guy kept drinking alcohol or whatever,
Yeah.
that was sitting there that looked outside to go, there's something on the wing. Something.
Yes.
Just like Ace
Yes.
Ventura, but on from Twilight Zone from what is it, William Shatner.
Oh man.
You
That'd been
know,
great.
it would have been great. It would have been a nice little homage. I mean, it was already a nice homage because like it was like okay, thing went on, like the creature was on the wing of the plane, so it was
Right.
very nice, like homage to it. But
Oh
I
yeah.
I just thought that was funny, and then of course it explodes, makes it explode, and I'm like thinking, man, so all these things are just messing with people, like and stuff. They're just or
Hmm.
whatever. But then, so what did you think of the plane scene?
Oh, I thought it was great. It was like it was nice little um, tribute, if you will, to the Twilight Zone scene. I thought, and I mean, and that was like one of my favorite Twilight Zone stories. Was that
Yeah, was it
episode?
Terror in 40,000 feet or something or whatever?
Something like that, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, I absolutely love that one. They did
I like both
that.
versions too. One with like you mentioned with Shatner, and the other one with John Lithgow
I
in the
forgot
latter
John
version.
Lithgow. I was trying to think of who took over for Shatner after in the movie. Who directed it? I think sure the I want to say it was the George Miller directed that one.
Might have been.
Um, they have big name directors directing all the I guess the Twilight Zone movie was taking the best episodes or whatever and putting them into, I want to say that's what they did, but
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Oh man. What?
I loved
But
it.
yeah. What? Yeah. what a story though, and then the fact that they made a little tribute scene to that was I thought was really really
I mean,
cool.
you picked up on it when you saw it, right? You're like,
Oh,
there's a monster on the
yeah,
wing.
yeah,
I
right.
thought that was really cool, but he was really fucking with the engines and stuff, you know? So
Little instigators.
I know, like they were just, I mean, they're just like, you know what? We're here to wreck up this planet as much as we can, you know?
Yeah,
And they couldn't figure out how to kill this stuff,
right,
you know? So they kill the creature. So basically they decided, well, the mustache man, you know, the
right.
agent decided to blow himself up, sacrifice himself, which
Uh-huh.
nice little gesture. I mean, save the world, you know, by blowing up one, you know, blowing them
Yeah.
up. Um, but it was the funniest thing was him going, um, you know, like when he blows up the insect or whatever, and the guy's like,
Uh-huh.
"How did that happen?" And he's like, "Some guy went inside the creature and blew himself up." It's like, what do you mean, some guy? What guy? It's like, some guy with a mustache.
Ah,
I'm like, that's what everybody's gonna like. How everybody can identify him like this. Some guy with a
the
mustache,
mustache,
you know.
yeah, and blew himself
Um,
up.
Blew himself up, and then the other guy had died, supposedly the
Yeah.
doctor. But
Hmm.
then, like his body. Did you watch the end all the way to the
Yeah.
end credits and stuff? They have like that one bit where the doctor comes back or whatever. The doctor's alive, I guess, in some kind of like suspended animation thing or something, you know. And they're
Yeah, and there was somebody else who's like, oh, we get finally work together, or something like.
right. And so I'm wondering, like, was that supposed to set up for a sequel, or was
Hmm.
it just set up like that because that's like how a lot of these movies end, you know, with setting up for a potential sequel? Would you watch a sequel to this?
Absolutely. I I really enjoyed this train wreck. I really did. It was
Train
just
wreck.
it was a train wreck with the scenes going back like all over the place, but it was highly entertaining. And I mean, and even though it was a long, like you said, one of the cons, it was like a longer film than it should have been. But the same token, I mean, it kept your interest up with all the everything that was going on because you just never knew what was going to happen next with all
Right.
the
Like the
craziness.
time sort of went like that, you know. There was
Right.
never like I said before, there's never really a dull moment, you know, a part where you were like, you know, like that
Yeah.
happened, you know, or whatever. I just didn't I enjoyed all of it. Like I laughed.
Oh yeah, I did
Uh
several times.
and I think when I was supposed to, I hope, you
Right.
know.
And,
Um
usually a film like this, when it's all over the place like this, you kind of go, eh. But this film was just so entertaining, and
mhm.
I mean, I mean, I would watch it again, and I'd watch the sequel to
Yeah,
this.
definitely me too. And I don't think there ever will be a sequel, sadly, but
Right.
I think there should be a sequel. I think it would be a lot of, you know, I think people would have a lot of fun with this movie. So, uh
Hopefully the same director too.
well, like I said, I don't he hasn't directed anything since, and I
Right.
don't know him personally, so I can't say if Michael Peterson would direct this again or
Hmm.
direct something again. But hopefully if he did do a sequel, at least he'd have some involvement, because what I think really made this movie work was very much a lot of attention to detail, you
Right.
know? So like so I watch a lot, like especially at the 31 days of indie horror, I watch a lot of bad movies, you
Hmm.
know, like a lot of just boring, you know, horror films, standard kind of like, you know, things that you sort of see, you know, all the time, you know,
Yeah.
and it gets kind of boring. Like, I'm not really a big fan anymore of like torture porn or whatever, because it just gets boring. It's like, okay, a bunch of people wake up in a, you know, trapped in a house and there's a person gonna kill each other off one, you know what I mean? Like
It's the
it,
same old, same old. Yeah.
yeah, it gets boring. And what I love about creature features is that there's sort of you know, people have a lot more. I feel like they have a lot more to work with,
Hmm.
because it's mythology, or whatever. Like or it's based on something fantasy. It's like, I don't think there's really going to be a planet full of monsters that are going to come to Earth and try to take over it or whatever.
All right. If there was, I'd so hang out there. That'd be like so cool to be hanging out with all these monsters and doing their thing.
They would
That'd
eat
be the
you. They would try to
that
eat
that
you.
that'd be the life, you know.
You want to be eaten by a monster?
Oh man, I would trust a monster I would a human. That's why it's so obsessed with these monster movies when they try to make it about the humans rather than the monsters. Oh, it just drives me crazy.
Could you
It,
imagine if it were the whole movie was like one monster going over to another monster and having a conversation with them? We can't understand them. So, it'd be sort of like Passion of the Christ, except without subtitles.
oh God.
So, like, could you just imagine if you watched Passion of the Christ without subtitles and you did not know a thing that they were saying? You're just kind of watching it, but like imagine with monsters.
Yeah.
Like they go to each like monster and they're just like and
I mean,
then
the heck with the humans. It should be about the monsters.
that's what I'm saying. Like that
You
would
know,
be the whole movie is them hanging
right.
out and doing stuff. And then like, what do you want to eat? Do you want to eat these humans over here or over here? Let's go over
Yeah.
here. I'm hungry. I want some Italian food.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go to Italy and eat. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and eat the people there. I don't know. There's just silly ideas. But
Great
I mean,
stuff.
this movie was fun and it was exciting compared to a lot of things I've seen, or
Right.
whatever. I mean, yeah, when you have a movie where monsters are invading, it's always about the humans. It has to
Hmm.
be because, we can relate to them, but it would be nice if one movie was about the monsters themselves
Yeah.
so that Stro can relate to them.
Because the humans are the real heels. They're the real villains of the story.
Uh, they're the
Monster.
real monsters.
Yes. The
Yeah.
monsters. They're just trying to do their thing.
Monsters. I mean, I don't think they asked for this. I don't think they were like, "Hey, let's go down to Earth."
Yeah.
It was like, "Oh shit, we're going down to Earth." Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What's
Those
this
darn
blue
humans.
planet?
Every time those darn humans see a monster, they shoot at it and try to take it out.
Well, and in all fairness, the creatures do their own form of attacking before the humans do sometimes. So,
They're just
it's
misunderstood.
they're
They're just
misunderstood.
misunderstood. Oh
I,
yeah.
I would love to hear that story. I would love to see, I'd love to
It's
see people do that.
it's like the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? I mean, look, Dorothy was. I mean, God, she was such a bad human being. She killed the Wicked Witch of the West's sister, their
Well, not on
house,
purpose.
and then the other witch stole her shoes and gave it to Dorothy. And if I was the Wicked Witch of the West, I'd be pissed too, because you just killed my sister. You took my sister's shoes, and and you going to see Oz to try.
So are you the same guy that like defends Johnny from Karate Kid and says that Danny was the real villain of the movie because he came to California, and stole
Oh,
Johnny's girl, and then
Danny's such a jerk. Oh my
I
God.
know, and then he just beat.
Cobra Kai was where it's at, man.
Yeah, man. They're. I mean, they were all there. All of a sudden, Danny comes over and just starts all trouble.
John,
Um,
I love Johnny. I love that character. Johnny, it's great. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I love it. I love the Cobra Kai show. Yeah,
Oh, it's
absolutely.
amazing. Yeah, what a great show.
Um,
Heck, I was even cheering for Jaws in the movie Jaws. I mean,
you wanted Jaws to live? Well, I mean,
yes,
but see, here's the problem. It's like the same thing of like, if you have an insect in your house, right? You say you have a roach in your house, you're not
right.
gonna be like, "Yay, Mr. Roach." what's up? You're gonna get rid of it because it's not supposed to be in your house. Now Jaws or Bruce the shark is in his house, right? He's in his own domain, right?
Yeah,
But
that's where he
here's the
lives.
problem: if he starts eating people that are just going in swimming, you
But
know,
those dummies should be swimming in his house. I mean, they should know better. I mean, look at the mayor. I mean, what an idiot. I mean, God,
there
God,
was no
and
mayor in this movie. That would have been interesting to have like the mayor. But I
yeah,
think the problem is a lot of movies they do that too much. They bring in the mayor, and the mayor is always just like the one in Jaws in all these stories. Like he's the one who's like, "Oh, we can't close the this area down because we're having a festival, and if we close this area
yeah,
down because we're having the festival, then people are going to be mad and they're not going to want to come to my town. And so I can't do that." And I'm
right. Oh
like,
yeah.
what? What is going on here? You
Oh, it's
know,
crazy.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, I don't know. But they always have that. And they didn't have it in this movie. Thank God. That was
Oh yeah.
not a thing for Insectula, which I didn't even know that was, I guess, supposedly the thing's name, the little thing's name, because he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, Insectula, blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "Whoa!" So that's where they got the name from. Is that he actually named? I thought it was even cooler if you didn't have that something was actually named Insectula. You just
Mhm.
that's just what we called it, you know?
Right.
Because I don't really know Godzilla that well,
Hmm.
but I'm pretty sure in the beginning of the movies, when the first Godzilla came out, they were like, "It's Godzilla," like they didn't say that. That sounded very racist. Sorry, but they didn't say that. They didn't have a name for it, but the movie had a name for it.
Right.
You know,
Oh yeah. And Godzilla. I mean, he was misunderstood too. I mean, he was just trying to have some fun.
you're saying like every Freddy Krueger, man, he's just misunderstood. He was just a misunderstood child rapist who got
Oh
burned and
yeah, yeah,
died.
yeah.
And
Look what he had. Look what all Freddie went through. Oh my
oh
God. I
my
mean, that's
God,
terrible. That's
God,
terrible.
Rob.
I mean,
Oh Lord.
and, and,
Now
and,
the only one I can sympathize with is Jason because the way that they sort of set Jason up is that he was a kid at the camp who was uh a mongoloid is what they call it.
yeah,
So I'm sorry, that's probably very not allowed, these days to be called, but that's what they were. I mean, that's what they called him. And he was sort of like he was, messed up. Like his, face was all messed up and distorted and stuff. And so the kids picked on him, and then they let him
yeah.
basically drown because he
Little
didn't know how to.
brat.
Now, who goes into the swimming pool or not a swimming pool, lake, and knows he can't swim and then jumps in, Oh, wait, no, no, no. All the kids pushed him in. That's right. They
Yeah.
pushed him in, and then the lifeguards were out all like messing around.
Poor Jason,
And
man.
yeah, and then he died. So I always sympathize with him, but I don't sympathize with him, um, killing random people I have nothing to do with, you know, like because remember, he was at his home. He was at Crystal Lake, but then he went other places. He went to like New York, you know, like caught our cruise to New York to Manhattan. Remember that?
Well, he had
You
to
know?
get out and see the world.
Yeah, but he didn't have to kill people.
Well, they were all
None
they
of
were
them
all
were
bad.
picking on him.
Yeah, they were all jerks.
No, none of them were jerks. No,
No, they
that's the
were.
one
Oh
I'm always
God.
mad about because they were all nice people, and then they were getting killed.
Either they're like making out in front of him or doing all these
Well, he's
things.
jealous because he can get a girl because he doesn't.
No, no, he just wants to be left alone. But these annoying people won't leave him alone, and they hang out where he hangs out. So he just
You have a whole podcast on every
he he
movie,
has
and
like a limit. He's like, just like we got limits how much he could take. You know what I mean?
we can have a
I,
whole
I feel I feel for him.
we can have a whole podcast, you and me, talking about all the different horror films.
Yeah,
Each episode a different horror film, and you can justify every person every killer or whatever creature or whatever, and say that they're the good, they're the good people.
Oh,
Just,
oh yeah, man. Man, I was like cheering for like Freddy, Jason, all of them, man. Because I mean, it's just, monsters are just so the monsters of
Chucky.
the film world so misunderstood.
Chucky is pretty mean though. Like he's
Oh,
not a
Chucky,
nice
yeah.
guy.
Well, Chucky, he has his moments, but I mean,
He was a serial killer before he died, I think, or something, or he was a bad
right.
guy before he died. He was a pretty nasty person before he died, and or whatever, not died, but got changed into the doll. His soul got transferred to the doll. So I don't know.
I mean, that's a big transition. If I was if I was Chucky and turned to a dog, I'd be kind of little hot too, little heated myself. So
Well, he
yeah,
did end up having the hot ass Tiffany. So,
well, yeah, good for him.
well,
And
at least they
and
were
they're a
very
great
nice
couple
to him
together.
about it.
I was happy they found each other. That was awesome. And
Yep,
that's a true love story right there.
true romance right
Yeah,
there.
it's
It's
awesome.
Tiffany and Chucky. You
Yeah,
know.
oh,
Um, but anyway, to go
yeah.
back to Insectula, the movie we were reviewing before we went off on a little tangent there. I mean, all in all, I will say, I mean, I pretty much said this the whole time that I just enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. I thought it had some. I like once again. I like It started off with the Criswell guy explaining what I guess what was going to happen, the narration, then going into the movie, and then all the rest of it. Just every single scene was, I mean, it was fun.
I was a lot of fun.
It's not boring whatsoever.
Oh no,
And if you are bored by it, then obviously you don't like these type of movies. You know.
I I tell you, it's sexual. I mean, got to hang out with some hot chicks.
Yeah, there was almost every girl. I think every girl I saw
Yeah,
in that movie was hot.
yeah. I was kind of happy for Insectula.
Well, I was kind of upset that the mustache guy had, like, I guess, were they hookers? Yeah, they were hookers because they're talking about their pimp Tyrone,
Hmm.
or what Tyrone's going to be pissed. And there were sister hookers, and I'm like, I have never heard of that kind of thing. Like, I mean, that's weird. I think to like, I don't know. I wouldn't be down with like two sisters, be like that. Like that would just, I don't know. It's not incest unless they're doing it to each other, but it's still really weird to watch, and stuff. And then he doesn't do anything because he didn't want to betray his ex, his former wife, girlfriend. Oh, we forgot to mention when he died, he
Hmm.
came back as a butterfly. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Remember she was saying bye to him?
Yeah, and then there's
Bye,
another
butterfly.
butterfly floating up, and I was pretty sure that was his wife, girlfriend, or whatever. And they were
Right.
together. They were together as
Yeah.
butterflies. That was kind of cute.
Yeah,
Um,
that was.
yeah, I kind of felt bad though because like he came to the grave, right? You know,
Hmm.
and then she kind of like, it ended up going away because of the girl and everything. And I was like, hey, he just wanted to come visit his grave. Why you gotta go and make him leave?
Yeah.
Maybe he waited till she was gone and then he came back, hopefully, to his grave.
Right, right, right.
But how does
Yeah.
a butterfly know that that's where he's supposed? I don't know. Like if you
Yeah.
get turned into a butterfly after your death, it's
What a
weird.
way to go, huh?
I don't know. I mean, it's funny because like I always start thinking about like reincarnation, especially when I start writing scripts and stuff. And I'm like, this person died and he got reincarnated, and what would they do? And I was just like thinking about that, and like, maybe we do get reincarnated and become what we loved, growing up. He loved butterflies because it reminded him of his girlfriend who liked butterflies. You know,
Yeah.
the one chick had a butterfly tattoo. The one, I guess, hooker had a butterfly tattoo, and that really made him start crying and thinking about his wife, former wife. I was like,
Right.
oh. So anytime he sees a butterfly, he's gonna think of her, you know. So
Yeah. What a happy ending to that
yeah,
whole deal.
it was sweet because I mean he sacrificed himself. He did it for the
Right.
greater good. But also I think he was also missing, his girl, and he was not happy being there, you know.
Yeah.
Um Interestingly enough, like the military get called in to take
hmm
over, and then they don't really do anything like until the end, like until
Yeah.
they get all the tanks and other shit. And that's really cool. Like for a low budget independent film to have tanks, period, in your thing, even if it's probably, I don't know if they're CGI tanks or anything. I don't think they were, but
Right.
you know, like I mean, that's some production value right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah. Had a had a plane. That was a CGI plane though. There
Yeah.
was that was obvious.
Oh,
So maybe it was CGI tanks, but that's pretty awesome.
it really is.
You know, it was fun. It was a cute little movie. I feel like it was shot in Minnesota, I believe, you
hmm
know, and they mentioned St. Paul. And
Right.
so I'm just like, this is, it's nice. I hope more people, because it is on Tubi, I hope more people watch it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
check it
Me too.
out. I mean, it's not something that I think a lot of people would be like searching for unless like you already know of it or something. Or I
hmm
think I came across it on recommendations. So
Okay.
hopefully more people are getting recommended it and checking it out for that. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah. I would definitely watch it again. It was a lot of fun.
I would definitely watch it again too, especially since like now I remember everything. I can kind of pick up on stuff.
Right.
So, well, thank you, Stro, for this. This is awesome.
Oh, thank
Um,
you. Thank you for having me.
yeah, we'll definitely have you back next season, you know,
Awesome.
for more episodes. I don't know what yet. I have no idea. I'm actually working on that right now. I'm compiling a list of movies I want to do for next season. So,
Fantastic.
and then I'll put you on as a guest for one of them. So,
Oh, great, great. This one was fun. Really was.
yeah, I'm glad you liked it. It could have been so you it's bad, you know,
Yeah.
and not in a good way.
hmm
Um, but honestly, I think like they knew what they were doing when they made this movie. They knew
Yes.
the target audience. They knew it was silly. I mean, just the concept, giant bugs, always silly, you know.
Oh yeah.
You gotta check out a movie. There's a movie called The Giant Spider. I think you'd like it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That, oh, it
Um,
sounds like fun.
it's an homage to 1950s, style stuff, and
Oh,
also
nice.
made by a guy in Minnesota,
Oh,
Christopher
okay.
R. Mem. So there you
Wow.
go. Minnesota seems to have some good like throwback B movie kind of stuff.
Right. Go Minnesota.
Go Minnesota. Once again, I hope this director, basically makes another movie, makes something, even if it's not a sequel to this movie. Which a
Right.
sequel would be cool, like Insectula versus something else,
Yes. Yes.
that would be fun. But
Oh man. The
what
possibilities.
possibilities? Yeah. Like, because Godzilla, it's like the Godzilla universe and stuff.
Yeah.
There you go. And then I hope he does that, and everybody else. It looked like everybody else. A lot of the actors haven't really done anything after this. I
hmm
was kind of surprised about that. And then of course there's Sarah Nicole, and I think there was a few other people who've done stuff. Like the guy who played Lobo. I've seen that he was in a bunch of movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was kind of a prolific actor. Uh,
hmm
which he did the face, the Lobo face, whatever.
Yeah.
He's all mad. I do not want to do that again. But he did that face, and I was like, oh man, like I don't know how like they picked him, like if they auditioned people to play Lobo, but they
right.
got the right guy, or if they like wrote it the director wrote it and, for that. So that would have been cool.
Mhm.
I would
That
love to
would have.
interview this dude at some point, the director, and find out more information about this movie if I can.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And find out why he's not freaking making another movie, man. That's
Ah,
get on that. Make
oh,
something else.
right. Oh man, there's so much talent there.
Exactly. You know. Um, well, once again, thank you so much, Stro, and everybody else. Join me tomorrow for another, and then I think we have like 3 more episodes left. So after,
Awesome.
starting tomorrow. So there you go. It's gonna be a busy rest of the year. So, or rest of the month. It feels like a year.
It does.
Yeah. Um, well, once again, we got to get you out here in person to do some of these things.
Oh, I'd
So,
love to. Anytime.
yeah, we're gonna next year. I think we're gonna do some more TikToks. So we'll have you come out and do some TikToks and
All
everything.
right. That's
You
awesome.
know.
I can't wait.
Yeah. But before we wrap up here, tell us, Stro, what have you been up to lately?
Oh well, I got some film work coming out. One's Stro Sinister Cinema that'll be out possibly the end of October. It's a horror sci-fi comedy series, much like Elvira, Tales from the Crypt, and a whole cast of characters. I'll have like werewolves, vampires, witches, um, you name it.
That is
But
awesome.
yeah, it was a lot of fun to film, and we had a blast filming it. So I hope when the people watch it, they have just as much fun watching as much fun as we did filming it. Because it was like a barrel of laughs every episode we did.
That's great. I'm excited for that.
Thank you so
Anything
much.
else? Do you have any upcoming conventions or anything going on?
Yes. I'm gonna be at the Fayetteville, North Carolina Comic Con this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at the Crown Complex in Fayetteville. Um, I'm doing an autograph signing at Lion Eye Games in Jacksonville, North Carolina, October 22nd. And then October 29th, I'm going to be at the WNC Comic Con in Fletcher, North Carolina, near Asheville on October 29th, right before Halloween. And also,
I think this was day 28 or something.
Mhm,
So it
right.
would be like literally tomorrow. So when this comes
Yeah.
out. So
Oh,
tomorrow, the
that's
next
cool.
day, you'll be doing that. It's awesome.
And I got a spy series coming out too called Hybrid. That'll
Oh,
be
very
out.
cool.
That'll be out next month in November as well. So
You
it's
got to
it's
play a
a
spy?
well actually there's two characters I play in this series, and it's like
Nice.
almost like a doppelganger of the other character, right? And the two totally opposite characters, right? So,
That must have been fun.
but it's making this premiere in Ashland, Virginia, at the Ashland Theater towards
Do you know
November.
when?
November. I want to say it's towards like mid-November.
Okay.
I'll find out the exact date, sure.
Awesome. Well, once again, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And how can people reach you?
Okay, well, they can reach my official website, it's thestro.com, THESTRO.com. Facebook at the Stro, Facebook at @Stro the Maestro, Twitter at the Stro, Instagram Stro Maestro. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stro Maestro, and I'm also on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealPapaStro.
Awesome. That's great. You're always busy. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to do this show and everything. And everybody else, thank you guys for checking this out. Check out indiefilmcafe.reviews, sickflickproductions.com, indiefilmcafe.podbean.com, and patreon.com/indiefilmcafe, where if you just spend $1, you can get we release a Patreon only thing. So if you want to spend $1 now, will be there on the last Friday of the month. You get a free podcast that you won't hear from Indie Film Cafe. Maybe we'll get Stro on as a guest on one of them.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for checking this out, and hope you guys had a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.